Cheers, Geraldine.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, let's start.
I'm Geraldine Ann Phillips.
Okay.
My maiden name was Powell.
Mhm.
I was born in Pembroke Dock on the 25th of June 1946.
Wow. You look much younger than your age.
Right, thank you. My mum was a nurse and my dad was a painter and decorator. I'm the eldest daughter. I've got 4 brothers
Wow.
and I've got 1 sister.
Are they still alive?
Yes, they're all alive. My sister is 10 years younger than me. My youngest brother is 6 months older than my eldest son.
Wow.
When he was growing up, when he was a young boy, say about 5 or 6, he wouldn't have it that I was his sister because he could never ever remember me living at home.
Wow. What did he think you were?
I don't know, he just wouldn't have it. Friend.
Friend? Oh, that's nice.
When we were small growing up, we used to have lots of aunties which were neighbours.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, we lived in a terraced house which had gas lights.
No electricity?
No electricity.
Wow.
We had a gas light.
What about the toilet?
Yeah, we did have a water toilet, and it was in like a lean-to of a back kitchen. We didn't have a bathroom. We used to have carry in a tin bath from out the garden, put in front of the fire, and then my mum would boil the water in a boiler that she used to use for washing the clothes. And then it used to be the cleanest in first, so we'd all go in.
So, and all use the same water?
We'd top it. Yeah, use the same water, but maybe top it up if it was getting a bit cold.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I suppose we were only small children, so it wasn't. I grew up in that house, which my mum and dad was renting. My mum didn't work then when I was little. I know we used to have a ration book. If I wanted some sweets, there was a little shop just down the road, and I'd go to the shop with a ration book and I could buy some sweets, but she'd have to take a ticket out of this book. We always had food. My mum was a good cook. I mean, it was very basic food, I suppose. It would be things like porridge for breakfast.
No cereal, nothing?
I can't, it would be porridge, because I can remember as I was growing up standing there stirring this porridge, which seemed to be like forever.
How old were you?
How old was I then? Maybe about 9 or 10. Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of housework?
Yes. I used to go to school and I used to think, oh, it's raining, lovely. She haven't dried no clothes today, because I would have to iron every night when I came. Because we were a family, I'd come home and my job was ironing.
What do you think? Nowadays, quite often, I know that in modern families, children are paid to do housework. What is your opinion?
I used to do that with my own boys. I never used to pay them to do housework, but they were given pocket money. And if they did something over and above, they would get a little bit extra. But if I asked them to do something and they wouldn't do anything, it would be deducted.
Okay, so there was a connection between housework and money.
Yeah.
All right.
But like I say, I was not given pocket money. It was just when I was a child growing up.
You didn't have any pocket money at all?
Not like that. If I wanted to go to the shop and I wanted some sweets, I'd ask my mum, and if she had the money, she'd give me it. But I didn't, they wouldn't say, well, right, this is your pocket money for the week.
Yeah, okay.
We didn't have that.
Yeah,
no.
Neither did we.
No.
And
I can remember that on a Saturday, when I'm a bit older now, about, I suppose, 12, there used to be a cafe in town called Monty's, and they used to have a jukebox in there. It was a biggish cafe, and we used to go in. It's where Boots the chemist is.
Yeah, I know.
There. We used to go in there, and we'd sit in there all afternoon with just maybe one glass of pop, and put money in the jukebox. I may have been allowed to have some money. I'm not saying I put money in the jukebox, but
somebody.
But it did. But we'd have one drink and we'd stay in there all afternoon.
And what sort of music were you listening?
I don't know, but when I was growing up, when I like rock and roll. I used to love jive. Ian and I used to love dancing.
Obviously, you can jive very well.
Yeah.
Oh, but do you have generally happy memories of your childhood, or there was something?
Yeah. I never thought that I was deprived, and I never thought, oh, she's making me do this. I was doing it because I wanted to go out, and down to Monty's on a Saturday afternoon, and I used to think, well, if I get on and do this. And I do this, they'll, she won't be able to say, oh, but I wanted you to do the ironing or something, because I was trying to keep on top of it. And I used to bake cakes, and in fact,
for whom? For the family, for the neighbors, for what? Or because you like doing it?
For the family. For my mum. My mum was a good cook, man. But there was a lady, she lived about 4 doors up, Mrs. Brown her name was, and I used to go up there on a Saturday afternoon, and I used to bake in her house for her.
For her? Because you liked it, or because you wanted to be kind, or
yes,
what?
I suppose she just asked me would I do it, and
Did she pay you for this?
I can't remember. I cannot remember being paid, but I'm sure I was rewarded in.
Yeah. Are you Welsh?
No. Yeah, I am. I'm Welsh, but I cannot speak Welsh.
Yeah, because when you were a kid, when you went to school, it was English.
We've always been classed Little England beyond Wales.
Yeah. It's just not a lot of people speak Welsh.
I can say like Shumai Boroma.
What does it mean?
How are you today? Or how
Shumai Boroma?
Yeah.
Shumai Boroma. Yeah, okay, I'm fine.
How are you this morning? I think it might be, or something like that. And no star.
No star. Yeah. Some kind of
I can remember my first day at school, and I wanted to cry, but I wouldn't cry.
Why? Why did you want to cry?
Because it was something like new, and it was unknown. But another girl who's still my friend now.
Wow.
She was crying her eyes out.
Oh.
There was lots of children crying and hanging on to their mother because they didn't want to be left there.
Yeah.
And I can always remember thinking, I wanted to cry, but I was being brave.
Wow, Geraldina,
I can remember that now.
What a spirit. Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
The teachers used to be really strict, and I can remember I was a bit older then, I suppose, about 9 or 10, and the teacher, she used to hit the boys. And the boys then used to wear short trousers, and she used to slap their legs.
Ooh.
And it would be even if you had a spelling wrong.
Well, that's cruel. What about the girls?
No, I can't remember her hitting any girls, but I can remember her hitting boys. My dad was a big man in the British Legion, and he was treasurer and secretary, and I used to help him with the books and things because we didn't have no computers or calculators. And then my mum and dad became stewards, and we went to live in the British Legion premises. And then my mum became pregnant again, so we had to move because it was too much for her.
Yeah.
And we went back to North Street, but this time instead of renting, they bought.
Yeah. Okay. So this house which you bought, how big was it?
It was 4 rooms, which was like, you had the front door. It was still a terraced house. You had the front door, and there was 4 rooms, basically 2 in the front, 2 at the back. I would say the 4 of them was about the same size. And then there was, again, a bit of a lean-to kitchen on the thing. Again, no bathroom. I used to sleep...
Toilet? Did you have a toilet?
Yeah, there was a toilet, but that was outside. I used to sleep in the sitting room, and it was a bed that you could fold up like a table.
Yeah, I know.
Because, I mean, the boys could sleep in the room, but I was getting a bit older. Yeah. When I met Ian when I was 14 or 14 and a half. He actually put bathroom in for my mum and dad when we were courting.
Really? How old was he then?
Well, he was 4 years older than me,
I
so
see.
he could have been about 19, 20.
Wow, how romantic. So how did you meet Ian? Tell us.
When I was in school, we used to have a gang of girls and there was a gang of boys in school. So what we used to do, if it was somebody's birthday, the boys used to pay £1 each, and that would cover the hire of the hall, and the girls used to bring a plate of food. And we used to put money again in the jukebox. And Ian was in town because he lived in England. I think he'd been playing rugby because he used to play rugby, and he'd met this boy called Eddie Carpenter, he had a girlfriend, and she was coming to this dance, and he said to Ian, I'm going to a party, do you want to come? And he said, I can't come to a party. Yeah, you can, come on. So Ian came to this party. I can't remember him there. But we used to do things like spin the plate and kissing games.
Yeah, I know. We have the same in Russia.
Yeah. I mean, it was all
spin
innocent.
The bottles.
Yeah, it was all innocent and things like that. Anyway, I went to school the next day, and my friend Pam, and she said, hey, there was a boy at the party the other night, and he fancies you, but he keeps forgetting your name, and how we got together after that, I don't know. But then when we started going out, Ian used to go to Nayland Technical College on a Tuesday, and used to go down.
And he was working at that time.
Yeah, and he was like an apprentice, so he was still going to college.
Yeah, okay.
1 day a week, and he used to go to Hobbs Point, and there was a ferry. Yeah. So, but he used to get a lift in from Angle by somebody in Angle, a man who was working there, and he'd get off in Market Street, because I used to sleep with my my gran's house, just for company, because she was on her own. So Ian used to get off. I was working now. Ian used to get off in Market Street, come to meet me at my gran's. I worked out the woolen factory. He walked me out to the woolen factory, out by the cemetery. And then he'd drop me there, and then he would run then to catch a ferry to go to college.
Wow. Oh, how romantic.
And that was on a Tuesday night. I think it was that was on a Tuesday morning. Wednesdays, I used to go to Moncton on the bus from work and get off at, there was a pub there called the Sally, it's not there now, which was Ian's uncle. And I used to wait there then for Ian and his brother to come from work. And then I used to go down to Angle with him to his mother's, and I used to have dinner.
What did his mother kind of...
Yeah, I think that they were all okay. And on a Sunday, I used to go to his granny's for tea. And then his dad and his grandfather used to go to ex-servicemen's in Pembroke and play bingo on a Sunday night. So Ian would bring me in then, and while they were playing bingo, we had an hour to ourselves before he had to go back and pick them up. And on a Saturday night, we'd go to pictures.
Okay.
If I wanted to go to a dance, but it would only be like a dance in a village hall, like out here or Angle or Huntleton, Ian would have to come and ask special permission.
Of your parents. Wow, yeah. Where did you learn to dance, and what sort of dance was that?
We would learn to dance in school.
Did you have dancing lessons?
We used to have dancing lessons like you're having maths and English. You would have dancing once a week maybe, and then maybe there might be a dancing club at lunchtime. But yeah, we used to have dancing, and the girls used to stand one side of the room and the boys the other, and they had to go and choose a partner. And I used to be in I used to be in the dancing team. And then when there was parents' day, I would be dancing.
How old were you when you left the school?
15.
15. Okay.
When I was in school, we used to do that. There used to be 11 plus, and then I passed 11 plus, but then you had to do an exam to get to the grammar school because it wasn't comprehensive then. Yeah. But I failed, so I was in the coronation school. But I was in the top form, and I came in the first 4. So
You were entitled to...
And then the headmaster wrote to my father and said that I had a good opportunity to go to the grammar school, and my dad wanted me to go, and I didn't want to go. I didn't go. I was quite happy
to stay
where I was. And then I used to love maths. I'm not keen on English, but I like maths, and I used to do typing, and we used to do cooking, we used to do sewing, English, history. I wasn't keen on history and geography, not really.
So you met Ian, so how long you've been courting?
I think I met, like I say, I must have been about 14 and a half when I met him.
And he was 19?
Yeah, if I was 14 and a half, he'd have been 19. I was pregnant, and I can remember going home and telling my mum and dad that I was pregnant.
What did they say? In Russia it would be, oh my goodness.
My mum, she
hit the roof.
Yeah, and said that I wasn't going to get married. She wasn't going to let me get married.
Why not?
I don't know, and she just got up and walked out.
Wow.
And my dad said, it'll be all right, leave it.
So Dad was on your side?
Leave it to me, yeah. My dad was a very quiet man. You know, if somebody was going to tell us off, it would have been my mother. And when Ian told his parents, she told him that if I was good enough for one thing, I was good enough to be his wife. Always got on with them all right.
That's lovely.
In fact, Ian's mother had she had bad chest. Very often she'd come to stay with us for 3 weeks at a time because she was ill, and she'd be on oxygen.
And you were looking after her.
And in the end, she actually moved in with us. Because I used to go down there on a weekend, clean her house. But then it was getting a bit too much, so we brought her in. We thought maybe for a month or so to get her back on her feet. And right, the doctor used to come and see her weekly, only like as a checkup, and we used to have oxygen bottles like that big. And I was working. The doctor would come at lunchtime because he knew that I'd be home for lunch. I used to run home, give her dinner, put her on the commode, and then go back to work. Yeah. And then the doctor said that he thought I needed a break. And he had a brother in Hartford, he still have, in Hartford West, and he would arrange for Ian's mother to go in an ambulance over there for me to have a break. And she passed away over there.
Wow.
And I was upset about that.
Of course.
But she came back to us to get buried. I got married in October, and John was born in January, although he was early and he wasn't really due till March. When we got married, we didn't have anywhere to live, and Ian's grandparents, who lived in Bentley, said that we could go and live down there with them. So
did they have a big house?
No, they had a back kitchen which had like fire, you know, a grate with a fire and an oven at the side, and there was a back, and then there was a scullery. The tap was inside then. When I went there first, you used to have to go outside to get the water.
Yeah.
And oil lamps, but they did have electric. And we had a bedroom of our own, and we used to just live in the living room with them. But then my mother wrote me a letter, because we didn't have no phones.
Wow.
My mother wrote me a letter because my dad had a slip disc and he was in bed on his back, and she had Richard, my youngest brother, a baby, and could I come in and help to look after Richard?
Yeah.
So Ian and I then went into my mum and dad's house. We bought a bed and we put it in my mum's sitting room. And we lived there for a while, and it was from there that we bought our first house.